Now, I have a few subjects on my list of things to discuss. First and foremost, obviously, the revelation that we broke to you last evening during our event at Cedar Creek Marina at Scoreboards that the Hunter Biden legal troubles are getting worse and worse and worse. If you have been following this saga, and if you listen to this radio show, you have. This indictment has some bright, flashing problems for the president of the United States. You know, the other day, Christopher Wray talked about, that we've got, red lights blinking regarding the possibility of terrorist attacks on American soil, which we all believe is coming. They only have to be right once. We have to be right 100% of the time. And with the porous nature of the southern border, we are diminishing our odds every single day that we allow this flood of illegal activity crossing over our southern borders. But there are several in this 56-page grand jury indictment, which, by the way, I would have talked with Jay St. Clair about today, but he's not here. Not to belabor that. It's incredible. This indictment is incredible. It is scathing. It is dramatic. It is detailed. It is unsavory. It demonstrates, one, his lavish lifestyle without regard, his holier than thou, two-tier, lavish, I'm better than you, I'm not an average person, I'm a Biden, I can do whatever I want to. The deep disdain that this person had for the legal system, disdain for that this person had for law in general, because he thinks he's better than you because his last name is Biden. You can excuse it away as a drug addiction and, this poor, pitiful soul, whatever. Go read the indictment. I encourage you to do so. The deep dishonesty embedded in the Biden family. The not just unsavory, just the unseemly lifestyle engaged in by Hunter. The willingness to facilitate this lifestyle by his father and his uncle and other family members, because they were engaged in money-making schemes as well. His willful decision to evade the law and to evade his tax liability on millions and millions of dollars, most of which made from foreign entanglements engaged in because of his father, is fascinating. Instead of taking money that he earned because of his last name through the willingness of his father to shop his Biden family name around to foreign countries, as vice president and as between the time that he was vice president and president. So all of this started while Joe Biden was vice president of the United States. Instead of taking the money that he made for no work product, and we're talking about Burisma, folks, we're talking about Ukraine. Is there a reason why Joe Biden is so insistent? An honest media would go through this. It's not that hard. An honest media would suggest to you that maybe, just maybe, Joe Biden and Hunter Biden's entanglement with the Ukrainian prosecutor getting fired and Burisma and all of that, maybe that is what leads him to insist that if the United States of America doesn't give money to Ukraine, that we're somehow supporting Russia in their effort to take over portions of that country. Something that I don't want to happen, but also something that I don't want blood spilled over, at least American blood spilled over. And frankly, unless we have an accounting of the money already spent, you don't get any other money. And that's another subject being debated right now on Capitol Hill. Is there a reason why Joe Biden mollycoddles the Chinese above and beyond his son's business entanglements and the suggestion that the Chinese people have the goods on Joe Biden? So all of this money flooding into Hunter Biden's bank account, with 10% going back out to the big guy and 10% going out to his uncle and 10% going this way and 10% going that way. He did not have the good sense or the human decency to pay his taxes. Now, while Hunter Biden in 2016, 2017, 2018, and 2019 is not paying his taxes, is actively evading paying his taxes, Joe Biden steps up to the national stage and talks about all of these evil, rich people who don't pay their taxes. Over and over and over again. Rich got to pay their fair share. Rich got to pay their fair share. Why aren't the rich paying their taxes? Well, he's talking about rich people using legitimate and legal loopholes to pay the minimum amount of tax that they're required to pay. In the meantime, his son, who's making money and cutting it back to Joe, is paying nothing. Instead, and I've got the list, Hunter Biden decides that he wants to spend his money on prostitutes, drugs, luxury items like fancy cars and whatnot. Hunter Biden is the exact type of tax cheat that should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. If there is any justice in the United States of America, Hunter Biden is going to jail. And Donald Trump's not. And I don't want Hunter Biden in one of these luxury Club Med type jails. No. I want him in don't bend over for the soap prison. Because he deserves it. I imagine, if I step back from this, don't you imagine this, Bell, that liberals think about Donald Trump the same way we think about Hunter Biden? Probably.
Oh, no, not at all. I don't think that one bit.
You don't think that?
I think Trump derangement syndrome is much, much more of a mental illness.
Yeah,
and at the end of the day, I just think Hunter is kind of a cocky guy who thought he was above the law and could get away with it. Whereas I think Trump, if he did anything that was truly quote unquote illegal, I think it was born out of ignorance and arrogance, not because he's actually trying to break the law.
Well, I'm beginning to understand how Joe Biden has such a level of expertise when he has these conversations with the American people. So Joe Biden steps in front of a microphone and has over the past several years, certainly as president, while he was campaigning as president, even as vice president of the United States, and the gap in between. And he gets moments of clarity when he talks about the elites, the super privileged. He loves to, when he's speaking and trying to act like the common man, he loves to talk about the privileged people who produce little value in the United States of America, who are greedy, who are unwilling to pay their fair share, who are privileged by their names alone, who are addicted to consumption. He's talking about his son, whom he raised. I would argue he's talking about himself.